Jamaica, May 1655. England launches a full-scale invasion on this valuable Caribbean island and successfully captures it from Spain. The English construct imposing forts in Port Royal, a key strategic location in Jamaica to protect their new territory. Soon, the town of Port Royal grows into the most economically valuable English town in all of the Americas. And its unrivaled success can be credited to piracy.
England gave pirates a bit of free rein. They asked pirates, please bring in goods, it'll help our economy. This is how pirates were actually able to make Port Royal their major stronghold. One of the really infamous people to come out of Port Royal was the pirate Henry Morgan. He goes to Port Royal and he orders all of the pirates to spend your money here, spend it for the crown in this English colony. He's actually made the lieutenant governor of all of Jamaica because he knows pirates and he was able to bring loads of wealth to the island.
Handing over Port Royal to the pirates was described quite rightly as doing a pact with the devil. And the devil came in the form of many leading pirates of the time, including Blackbeard, Calico Jack, but also female pirates like Anne Bonny.
While pirates made Port Royal the most successful English colony at that time, they also transformed it into a den of sin. In fact, it became known as the wickedest city on earth.
According to the Dutch-born writer Alexander Aquemelin and his book, Buccaneers of America, Port Royal had a worldwide reputation as being this hub of complete debauchery and degeneration. It was said that every fourth building was a brothel or a tavern. It was a hub of violence and booze and sex.
At the height of its wickedness, we might consider Port Royal to be Las Vegas on steroids. It was gambling, drinking, prostitution, and then in 1692, it all came crashing down with this extraordinary event.
At midday on June 7, 1692, a disaster of cataclysmic proportions tore through this seaside colony.
Port Royal is struck by an enormously destructive earthquake. Buildings collapse, people are sucked down. Ships in the harbor are swept across into the marketplace because of a tidal wave that strikes the town.
The tidal wave sank 60% of the city into the ocean and killed almost half the people that were living there. Ships were moved all the way from the water and dropped right down to the center of town.
Within minutes, Port Royal was crushed by destruction on a biblical scale, leading many to wonder, did the so-called wickedest city on earth fall victim to divine punishment?
Many of the writers, and especially the religious writers, commenting on this earthquake and its effect on Port Royal, see it as a judgment of God driven by the reputation for sinful behavior and also attitudes about plunder and piracy. This is a very providential belief system where God actually strikes down people who are misbehaving.
Was the demolition of Port Royal the work of Mother Nature or that of a higher power? While it sounds far-fetched, a series of catastrophes continue to plague the fallen city, even after it was sent to the bottom of the sea.
There were many efforts for decades to try to rebuild Port Royal, but catastrophes just kept happening. Every few years, these would be things like fires, heavy drought, hurricanes, floods, other earthquakes. And so eventually, the money and resources just weren't really worth it. It was known as Sodom of the Sea, and so there were religious populations who very much believed that God was punishing the region so that nobody could ever set it up as a port town again.